is hard to believe, but we're almost back around to spring again. It goes by so fast, and it's that time of year when we start putting our list together and thinking about the things we'll need for our garden. I got to interrupt here for a second. Keep watching, this is good stuff, but two things I got to tell you. First of all the things I'm about to show you, you do not have to buy all of them. Just pick the tools that work for you, because that's the whole point of this channel, is to have a good, inexpensive backyard garden where you can raise good organic vegetables. In a small 30 by 30 garden, you're not going to need an earthway seeder. You may not need drip lines. You can water by hand. So keep that in mind as you watch this. Pick out the things that work for you. That's the first thing I want to tell you. Keep it simple, keep it inexpensive, and you're going to be great. The other thing I forgot to mention is compost. Whether you buy it in bulk or you buy it in bag, make sure it is organic certified. That's the key. Good organic compost to use out on your rows. And here's the other thing. You're going to see all these advertisements out there for potting soil that you're going to put in your seed trays to raise your seedlings. And let me tell you a money-saving tip. You don't need that. Whatever compost you buy, wherever you get it, that's good organic, is going to work perfect in your seed trays, just as it does out in your little small backyard garden. That's a money saver. So guys, keep it simple, keep it easy. As I always say, water, sunlight, seeds, compost, you're good to go in a no-till system. Okay, this is good stuff. Let's keep watching. Now, whether you've been doing this for 30 years or this is your very first year to garden, here's a checklist that you can go by just to get you ready for spring. And here at Whirlwind Family Farm, where we have more of a commercial operation, we don't use much more than what you see right here behind us. We are a no-till system. We don't use a rotiller, we don't use plows. Everything, these beds are planted into year after year. We disturb this soil as little as possible, and we go down with compost to keep it as organic and undisturbed as possible. So let's go through the checklist. Let's look at number one. The first thing you got to have is good, reliable seeds. I always say, and we have another video where we talk about this, is find a place with good, reputable seeds. A good, reputable seed company will put down when the seeds were harvested. It'll put down also the germination rate, and also they're going to say if they are organic certified. So make sure that you're finding a good seed dealer that has organic seeds that you can depend on and give you a better chance of germination. So first of all, seeds, and along with seeds, depending on how you plant, is we use seed trays for most everything we do out here, whether it is Swiss chard or bok choy, radishes. We start things off in seed trays. These are the Winstrip trays from Neversink Farm. I'll put that link in the description. These are very robust, tough. These will last us 10, 15 years. You certainly don't have to buy the same seed tray as we do, but I always suggest pay a little bit more and get something that's tough and last. You know, those cheap ones that are crinkly and can break easy, they're not going to last you more than, you're lucky if you get 2 seasons out of it. So spend a little bit more on a seed tray and get the ones. And for a small backyard garden, you may not need more than 2 or 3 of these. This is a 50 cell seed tray. They've got them up there 120, 130 cell seed trays. Just depends on what you like. We just think this is a good universal size. So seed trays and seeds, that's number one. Number two is one of the things that all of us as gardeners have to deal with, and that's weeds. So I'm going to give you 3 tools that are very simple, very easy to use when getting rid of seeds. And first of all, just a standard hoe. I always like to get one that's lightweight. It's easy to clear weeds, clear out if you have, like we have a lot of Bermuda grass out here each year that needs to be cleared. In fact, we use these hoes to clear this entire farm. We didn't even use a rotiller. Now, I will say, if this is the very first time, this is your very first garden, you're clearing off a 30 by 40 spot in your backyard, a rotiller is a nice way to go. That is the one time you will till in a no-till system to break that soil up, clean out that grass, whatever type of grass it may be, fescue, Bermuda, get that spot cleared out. But a good garden hoe is always a safe bet, and you can get these pretty inexpensively. You don't have to get anything fancy. The other thing, if I had to have one weed fighting tool, and that is a stirrup hoe, I absolutely love these. The action of moving back and forth. This is a 7-inch. These are so versatile. Use them in so many different ways. You can even use them just right below the surface like a wire weeder. And that's what I'm going to show you next, is if you want to go just the extra expense, there are wire weeders. There's different ones out on the market. We got this one again at Neversink Tools, but this is a quick disconnect system. So you can put different size on there. And of course, wire weeders are designed just to go below the surface and get those weed seeds and get them before they even germinate. The other hoe that you can get that we have right here is a little collinear hoe. I'll show you this real quick. I love this size hoe because once you get your plants growing, you can really get in this. You can see it's very small. This is only about 3 inches wide. You can get around plants really easy. I love the collinear hoe. But again, in a small backyard garden, you can even weed by hand. And if I had to pick one hoe, it would probably be the stirrup hoe that I just showed you. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, this is a simple thing. In a no-till system, we want to disturb the soil as little as possible. But if you do have some compaction, this is the very first year that you have cleared out this space, you're going to need to loosen that, whether you do it with a rotiller the first time. And I always say if you're planting carrots, you like to have a good malleable soil so those carrots can go straight down. So I always say the garden fork is a great way to go, to be able to go down in that soil, push down with your foot, break it, pull it back, and loosen that soil. You don't want to pop the soil over and loosen it and dry it completely out, because then you're killing microbes. But the good garden fork is a good way to go, just especially for small gardens. If you have a little bit bigger garden, the broad fork, this one's about 30 inches wide. We use it on, we've got 30-inch beds that are 50 foot long. So the broad fork is an excellent tool to be able to loosen, but not flip that soil all the way over. We just crack and break the soil to loosen it, and that's it, because you don't want to flip soil over and dry it out. So there you go. That was number 3. So let's go to the next one. Number 4. This sounds simple, but something I always say it's good to have. I like just a simple, good garden rake. If you're planting, let's say you're using an earthway seeder in a small backyard garden, you certainly don't need a seeder to direct seed. But if you do, you want that soil to be as smooth and easy to go along with that seeder to drop seeds in. So these are great for doing that and just getting a little bit of things up and raking around. You don't want to get rid of too much of your organic material, but these rakes are great for just smoothing and clearing areas. I love these garden rakes. And of course, for moving around your compost and smoothing out and getting rows and getting your garden all nice and smooth the very first time. Of course, the good row or garden rake here, I like these with the hard tines. You can just go down through there and really get things like you want them. So a good rake is always worth its money, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on these. I think this one was like $15, $20, and this thing will last you for over a decade. So it's always good to have one of those. Let's go to number is watering. Watering can be as simple as top watering, getting a water can. If you have a very small garden, you can just come in, top water where they're at. I will say top watering takes a little bit more time, a little bit more diligence, where I know a lot of people like to use drip lines or soaker hoses. We like to go with drip lines out here because it's putting the water exactly where it's supposed to be. If you have something that's like a big overhead sprinkler, you're putting water over everything. You put it in the walk paths, you're putting it out on the edges, and then what you're doing is watering weeds. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to give the weeds more of an opportunity than they already have. So that's why we go in with drip lines, and I also think soaker hoses. Soaker hoses tend to put out a little bit more water, but the beauty of both of those things, if you want to put the battery operated timers on those, you can do it. So watering, that's key. Just come up with your method, stick with it. And I will caution one more thing about top watering is if you water things like squash too much above, you can end up with powdery mildew. We don't want to get too much water on their leaves. Again, that's where drip lines are fantastic. So let's go to simple and easy. I always like to show one thing that you'll use more than you realize is go somewhere, which you can see where I got these, certainly not a sponsor. You want just having you a good 5-gallon bucket. So many things you'll end up using your bucket for. You can put your compost to haul it out. If you're picking weeds, put them in there. It just really simplifies things. I always say, keep a couple of these around. I think you can get them for $3 or $4. They're not expensive at all. And I'm going to throw something along with that. Is always, you can get these really inexpensive at lots of different retailers. I think you can get these at Walmart or online. Is the little spade, the little shovel, for when you're actually going out and transplanting your seedlings. You could go into that compost, just pull forward, drop that down in there. It's simple, easy to do. I think I've had this one here for 4 or 5 years, and you can see it's no worse for wear. These things will last you forever. And then if you want to spend a little extra, I always suggest having a good wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrows, I'd spend a little bit more on one. They're nice because if you're transplanting or transporting a little bit more compost, or say you've got some of your seedlings, You've got them at the front of the house. You can put your seed trays in here and wheel this around to the back. It just saves a lot on your back and hauling things. I love wheelbarrow. You cannot imagine here at Whirlwind Family Farm how much we use it. For whenever a crop is being taken out, let's say you've got a cover crop that's being terminated and you're getting all those plants, you can put them in and then haul this out to your compost pile. So that makes a difference as well. So guys, one last thing I'll mention, I talked about direct seeding. Most small gardens, it can be done by hand. You can take a stick or your finger, run down your row, make that furrow, drop the seeds in. If you want to spend a little bit extra, the Earthway seeder I think is a great way to go. They're not that expensive. Last time I looked, the price had actually come down. I think they were, maybe this was because it was fall, they had a sale, but they were like 130, 140 bucks at most. So those seeders are great for gardens that are a little bit bigger. Say you're planting 30 or 40 feet of carrots or peas and you just want to direct seed and not start things off in your seed trays. So guys, that's the checklist for 2026. You can see it's nothing complicated, it's nothing expensive, and most everything I showed you right here was purchased 3 or 4 years ago. So you can see they're used season after season and they really pay for themselves. And if I had one bit of advice on all this equipment, spend a little bit more, get you something that's a little bit more robust, a little bit more tough. So you're gonna get a decade or maybe 2 decades out of it, and it's gonna last. So you know each spring, you're ready to go. Guys, thanks for finding our channel. I'm Jeff with Whirlwind Family Farm. We always have another video over here you can check out to take you further along in that process. And we appreciate it a lot when you like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notification. Talk to you soon.